candidity, and analytical precision. In your capacity as minority spokesperson, you misled the public with wrong public data. Can you assure this committee that you are not going to sleep on the job and make some of these data presentational errors that we have even experienced in the past, for which Ghana was charged for some misreporting by the IMF? That's my question, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for this.
Before you answer the question, the questioner, I will want you to consider withdrawing, going to the office with a degree of honesty, integrity. I mean, it's against our rules. So expunge that from your question. Then I can ask the nominee to answer the question.
Mr. Chairman, if you can guide me.
I think what the chairman is saying is that the aspect where you delved into his personality. So just say that that bit is deemed withdrawn. Then we make...
Mr. Chairman, duly acknowledge.
Thank you very much. Nominee, you may proceed to answer the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Gideon Boakon has got it very wrong. Very wrong in the sense that he's not privy to the IMF data. And I want to refer him to the IMF staff report for 2018 and 2019. And if you can check now, I want to take him into it. Mr. Chairman, he's wrong. In fact, the very 7.8 fiscal deficit for 2016 was reported by the IMF. And Mr. Chairman, the IMF has subsequently even revised the fiscal deficit for 2016 down on cash basis to 6.3%. 6.3%. Mr. Chairman, you know me in this house. I don't just speak. I speak with data. I research before I speak. I use data from independent sources. Ghana was in an IMF program at the time. 2017, the Ministry of Finance presented a budget. They quoted the numbers he's making reference to. I challenged the numbers. In fact, my former boss also challenged the numbers because I was a deputy minister at the time. 2018, they repeated the same inaccurate numbers, and it had become the order of the day.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
I have a responsibility.
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
I have a responsibility to defend our legacy. And I had a responsibility to defend our legacy. And in defending the legacy, I actually decided to use data from independent sources, the International Monetary Fund. And in doing so, the IMF presented this data. Mr. Chairman, I'll give you this. This is a dashboard I asked the Ministry of Finance to tabulate for me. Ministry of Finance's own data. I did not compute this data. It's coming from Ministry of Finance. According to the same Ministry of Finance, the fiscal deficit, cash basis for 2016, was 6.3% of GDP. Mr. Chairman, this is not coming from me. So the 7.8%, I was extremely charitable, extremely charitable, because I've weighed off 1.5% of GDP. Because that was what the Ministry of Finance has reported. They gave it to me this morning when I asked for it. This is coming from the Ministry of Finance. So there's no basis for me to apologize. I stated a fact. I stated what is coming from the IMF, what I had earlier on objected to, and I've asked the government to consider relook at the numbers again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. We indicated earlier that he doesn't have the power to ask any nominee to apologize. He doesn't lie in his mouth. And it was withdrawn. So I will move to the next questioner, member of the committee, Honorable.
Mr. Chairman, I will seek your leave for a point of order. My brother and
you are
nominee,
taking the point of order on who? Which matter are you taking the point of order on?
On the matter he just put on the table that consistently Ministry of Finance presented wrong data to
Under
Parliament.
what order are you coming?
Mr. Chairman, I have to put this on record that he's saying that consistently for 2 years, Ministry of Finance presented wrong data. You were a member of Parliament at that time. We were all members of Parliament at that time. And then he comes back to tell us that today he's gone back to that same Ministry of Finance to get accurate data because he's the one going to, lead or chair, lead the ministry. I don't think it is proper. I don't think this is how we should treat ourselves. If for one reason you have found out another data that is maybe contrary to what we presented, definitely there will be explanations. Definitely there will be, reasons why it is so. But to say that consistently we presented wrong data to Parliament consistently for 2 years, Mr. Chairman, this is Ghana. And like my neighbor in Etiwa West said, whatever we say here, the international investors are listening and watching, and to have repercussions on this economy. So let's manage what we say. We are not saying don't speak the truth, but you cannot say that consistently for 2 years, Ministry of Finance presented a wrong data here. Mr. Chairman, I expect you to do something about it. Thank you very much.
I will not allow the nominee to answer. That is not a question. It's a commentary. May we proceed? Honorable
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, you have to do something about it because you were a member of Parliament at that time, and they are saying that we, members of Parliament, watched while wrong data was being presented.
Honorable Patrick Obama, Honorable Abna Asare, you are out of order.
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, you have
Put
to
your
do something.
microphone off. Honorable Patrick Obama, it's now your turn.
Chairman, you have female members on this committee, and I believe you must protect the ladies on the committee, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Abna is your colleague and a female member on the committee, so we must do some. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity to ask some questions. Let me use the opportunity to congratulate my good friend, Honorable Cathedral Atoba-Forson, for his nomination as Finance Minister Designate. Sometime in 2022, you alluded to the fact that the central bank had printed over 22 billion cedis, ostensibly to inject into the economy some funds. I would want to find out from you if you still stand by that comment or those comments, given the fact that the central bank came out with a statement explaining what they did, which was in line with the fund program and also some borrowing from the secondary market. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I've not changed my position. Ghana was not in an IMF program in 2022, and it cannot be in line with the IMF program.
I didn't get the answer correctly from my good friend.
Honorable nominee, can you repeat your answer?
Mr. Chairman, he said what the central bank did was in line with an IMF program. Ghana was not in an IMF program, and I stand my position that the central bank indeed engaged in monetary financing, in other words known as money printing.
Much for repeating your answer. Your second question.
Ato, I know Honorable Ato, sorry for calling you Ato. I'm used to calling you Ato. You are someone who loves to read a debt report. And you've always engaged me on the debt report from the Ministry of Finance. May I know your thoughts on the debt report, particularly 2022? Reading from the previous debt report, the public debt, as it stands now, increases with the depreciation of the cedi. About 90% of the increase in our external debt was due to the cedi's depreciation, which is mainly outside the purview of the central bank or the Ministry of Finance. What are you going to do differently to ensure that exchange rate depreciation do not have a very negative effect on our balance of payments? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Nominee, your answer to the question.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, yes, this House always considers the debt report. The Finance Committee always considers the debt report. We started raising the red flags and asked the minister to act far back 2020. In fact, we deepened our call in 2021 and asked the government to act immediately. Our major concern at the time had to do with the exclusion of certain lines. ESLA bond, Sino-Hydro loan, Dache bond, and many others. And we said, what they are doing is wrong. And that as long as you are going to use government revenue, public revenue, to repay this debt or service the debt, you should count it as part of the debt. So the debt that they were reporting excludes some of this debt that I've mentioned. We were ignored. But in the end, when Ghana went into the IMF program, we were compelled to add Sino-Hydro loan to the public debt. We were compelled to add ESLA bond to the public debt. We were compelled once again to add Dache bond to the public debt. So we came back to the basics. We in the NDC felt vindicated, but we don't seek that. We think it provides a very excellent lesson for all of us in the way we report our debt. Fast forward, that is why the NDC, we've pledged in our manifesto to establish an independent debt management office so that we can report our debt in a very transparent manner to avoid past mistakes and to move on. The exchange rate issues you've mentioned are very genuine and very germane. Yes, as long as you borrow in another country's currency, foreign currency, when the cedi depreciates as against those currencies, because you express it as, in your currency, it will have an impact, and so your debt will be going up. But remember, it's also your responsibility to manage the currency, and it's not someone else's responsibility. And Central Bank, the Bank of Ghana, has a role to play in the management. In fact, they have to manage the currency and stabilize the currency. But the Ministry of Finance has a role to play. So the behavior of the fiscal authorities will have some positive or negative transmissions at the monetary side. And so together, we have to do it. When approved as minister, I will work or coordinate effectively with the central bank for us to be able to anchor the cedi together, so that between the Ministry of Finance and the central bank, we can anchor the currency. That must be done. I strongly also believe that monetary finance must be eliminated. We've done it in the past in 2016, and monetary financing has a role to play in the inflation that we saw in 2016, and the cedi that we saw depreciating to a level that you are talking about. So we need to work together and find a way to deal with the concerns that we've raised. I'm committed to that, and we'll work to do that.
Thank you. Minister, there's just a question to the chairman, to the nominee. I know there are some cocoa farmers in and around Ejumako and Yanesiam. Asin area, Denchira, Ashanti, Western North, they're all listening to you. And they would want to know from you as Minister of Finance, because under the previous administration, Cocoa Board was moved from the Ministry of Finance to Ministry of Agric. People had issues with it. They want to know from you, from a cocoa growing area, whether you are immediately going to increase, as promised, the producer price of cocoa to 6,000 Ghana cedis per bag, as promised. Thank you very much, and I wish you the very best, Ato.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, please go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, as we speak, the chairman of the Producer Price Review Committee is the Minister for Agriculture and not the Minister for Finance. The government changed the position. In fact, President Akufo-Addo brought a bill to the House for us to consider and change it. Until that changes, I will not be the chair of the Producer Price Review Committee for me to commit. But what I can say is that, you know my passion with cocoa. I do not have a cocoa farm myself, but I recognize the work of the cocoa farmer. And I have fondly spoken about cocoa, and everyone knows that. I think the cocoa farmer must be prioritized. One of the reasons why our cocoa is going down is that we are not paying the cocoa farmer a fair price. As a result, there are no incentives for the cocoa farmer to cultivate cocoa. And our volumes are dwindling from almost 1 million metric ton to 400 and something thousand metric ton. Today, we are second largest producer of cocoa. Ecuador is fast approaching, and if care is not taken, Ecuador will overtake us. Cocoa has supported Ghana's economy over the years. I think it's about time that we pay attention to the cocoa sector by giving fair price to the cocoa farmer and revamp the industry. As minister, obviously, as Minister of Finance, when approved, I will work with the Ghana Cocoa Board as a rare sector active player to revitalize the cocoa sector, but at the same time paying attention to what the cocoa farmer gets, because we need to incentivize them, we need to encourage them for them to be able to cultivate the cocoa, and for them to be able to also be encouraged to stay within the sector. Remember, the cocoa industry is more or less the largest single employer of Ghana's economy. And it cuts across how many regions in our country. Almost half of this country produces cocoa. So don't overlook cocoa, and we will not overlook cocoa.
Minister,
Thank you very much.
Just to give you some information, that committee is co-chaired by the Minister of Finance and the Minister. So you have a voice. Right from the word go, you have a voice.
So that even empowers me stronger.
Thank you very much.
And my passion will always come to play.
Thank you. It's now the turn of Honorable Governor Kwame Abuja, the Majority Chief Whip.
Chairman, thank you. I also want to take the opportunity to congratulate my boss, the Majority Leader, Honorable Kesel Ahiafor. Working with you as your whip, I have no doubt you are cut for this job. You are a personality determined to achieve results, and you are selfless, and you love your country. I believe with you in the chair, you will be able to drive, on behalf of the President, the economic reset that we all desire as a people of this country. Chair, I have an observation. I haven't served long enough on this committee, but I have this to say. This is the longest vetting of a leader since I entered Parliament. Though my very good friend, the respected Minority Leader, made the point that there's a convention that leaders are vetted differently. And I was here when even the Deputy Majority Whip at the time, Honorable Lydia Alassane, was vetted. That rule even applied to her as a Deputy Whip. We are approaching 3 hours of vetting. There's a perception that these things only apply when our colleague NPP are at the receiving end, i.e., when they need to benefit, these rules apply. And we on the NDC side follow through. Let this just be on the record that one day, if a leader gets vetted 3 hours, 4 hours, it wouldn't be that, oh, because it's NPP or NDC, but you have actually set the precedent. Let me go to another observation. My very respected leader, I know he knows his numbers, and he actually goes not only read Hansards, but actually watch videos of proceedings in Parliament. And we all learn from him sometimes, though I came to Parliament with him. His premium on details are correct. In his, what I call the press, using this platform for a press conference initially, he spoke about a lot of things. One of the important things he spoke about was the communication from His Excellency the President to this House, where he suggested that Order 65-1 says that that type of letter should be signed by the President, Vice President, or a minister designated by the President. And he took issues with Dr. Kalisu signing that letter. I have here in my hands a letter dated 21st January 2021. And this letter communicates President Akufo-Addo's nominees for ministerial and regional ministerial designate. And guess what? The person who signed this letter is not even the President's Executive Secretary, but somebody called Honorable Eugene Ahin, Acting Director of Communication, Office of the President. So whilst I agree with you that, yes, address to the Speaker, the thing says, it's all here, I'll hand it over to you. So what I'm saying is that I agree with him that Order 65-1 should be adhered to. But the point is that this is nothing new in this House. Indeed, the Executive Secretary of the President has communicated to this House appointing people to authority under that same thing. So just for the records. Honorable Dr. Ato Forson, I have just one question for you. And this question is regarding a payment of $53 million towards a supposed Cathedral project, which was a commitment of the former president to his God. As we speak, the $53 million has been paid. The result is a big hole not far from here. We also know that the payment was made through the Ministry of Finance. My question to you is, having knowledge that the $53 million could have paid for 3 completed Agenda 111 district hospitals, could have paid for 1,220 6-unit classroom blocks, could have paid for 1,050 chip compounds, could have paid at least 299,000 teachers, and actually could have bought 9,000 cutlasses for farmers. Will you promise that when you are approved by this House and then subsequently by the House, you would set up an investigation as to whether this payment was legitimate, and if possible, retrieve this money so that we can buy the 9,000 cutlasses for the farmers, actually build 1,050 chip compounds and 1,200 6-unit classroom blocks. Hopefully, Adaklu will get some of the 6-unit classroom blocks because we still have schools under trade. Will you make a commitment to make sure that this $53 million, which many Ghanaians believe was a waste, would become something that can benefit the ordinary people of this country?
Thank you very much. Before you proceed to answer the question, let me reiterate the fact that regarding the form of the communication to Parliament, I indicated quoting a decided case to support. As a matter of fact, it's not about the form but the substance. So let's leave it there. You may proceed to provide an answer to the question. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, this takes me back to what I started earlier. The quality of expenditure matter. You see, and I've said earlier on that there was the need for us to cut the waste. This is one of the waste that I refer to. And learning from past mistakes, we don't need to repeat this. As to whether we'll investigate it or not, the Ministry of Finance do not have investigative power. It is the government, and based on the government agenda to investigate. I attend the Office of the Attorney General and the newly established ORA. So, Mr. Chairman, let me put it this way. There are bitter lessons we have to learn from some of these expenditures and what it has done to all of us as a country and what we have gone through together, because in the end, we ended up borrowing, and we borrowed into an unsustainable pit to the extent that we had to give domestic bondholders haircuts, including Euro bondholders. So we have to learn from it. And I've said that we need to identify some of these kind of expenditures. You are now aware of this one, but maybe there are a lot more that we are not aware of. Can we identify some of them? Can we pledge together, the political class, the governing class, not to continue some of these things and allow the private sector to deal with some of these things concerned? So I'll leave that here and urge you that I will work with yourselves, we'll identify some of these wasteful expenditures and cut them appropriately. Let's cut the waste together.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. Chairman, my respected colleague Kwame Agboja made reference to an earlier observation made by me in respect of the communication from the Secretary to the President to the House. He did suggest that there is precedence and that in January 2021, specifically 21st of January 2021, a communication from the Presidency was signed by Eugene Ahin, Acting Director of Communication, informing the Speaker of some nominees, and that to him is a precedence. I humbly beg to disagree with him on his own evidence. The letter he referred to is rather a press release, not a letter to the Speaker. And for his own record, is titled "For Immediate Release, President Akufo-Addo's nominees for ministerial and regional ministers designate." The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has submitted to Parliament for prior approval through the Speaker, Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, the names of the following persons for appointments as ministers in his new government. So, just for the record, my respected colleague, please, my respected colleague, Eugene Ahin has never written on behalf of the President to the Speaker. This is a press release. And if you want me to read the conclusion, I will. President Akufo-Addo is hopeful that Parliament will see to the prompt approval of his nominees so that they can assist in the delivery of his mandate for his second term in office. This is a press release. And in fact, our colleague, Ufosu Kwachi, as the acting spokesperson for the President, has actually also released a statement in respect of the nominees that got to Parliament. So I'm saying that, get the fact right, Eugene Ahin, for records, never wrote to Parliament. And that was not what I was referring to. I referred to the letter from the Secretary. In any event, I relied on the rules of the House. So please, Eugene never wrote to us, and I did not mislead the public, neither did I quote the wrong law or neither was I suggesting that there was no set precedent and that this is something that, I got wrong. I couldn't have gotten it wrong, with respect, sir.
Yes, Leader, the point well noted. Do you have a further question?
Yes, I think I was just reinforcing the point he made because the orders are clear that such communication should be signed by the president, the vice president, and I agree with you. So I'm just saying that because I know that the president's executive secretary have communicated to this house on a number of occasions. But as the chair directed, we'll leave it there. Leader, the people of Adaklu have heard a lot about the debt of this country. We have heard you say sometimes if we were to share the debt, my auntie Peace, would have to pay 20,000 Ghana cedi as part of our debt. But so far, I've not heard you speak about, in your view, going through the transition, how much does this country owe now? What was it in 2016? And what is it now? And how much my auntie is supposed to pay? If we're asked to pay that money, everybody is supposed to pay today.
Thank you very much for your question. How much do we owe now? What was it in 2016?
Mr. Chairman,
please go ahead with your answer.
Mr. Chairman, the NDR debt numbers has not been finalized. And I would wish to wait for us to finalize NDR numbers. And then as part of the budget, we can announce same. And maybe His Excellency the President, during his State of the Nation address, he had numbers because the fiscal fits into the debt, and so we'll be able to know exactly what is Ghana's public debt. I don't want to say something and change my position tomorrow, so I beg that you leave that to the NDR numbers. Thank you.
It's now the turn of the Deputy Leader, Honorable Patricia Apiaji.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Leader, that's my favorite leader. Having been here for all this while, I've been wondering how many sins this committee has committed to fast-track your vetting today. I've been wondering how many sins we have committed, and I've been wondering whether Ghana, Banana Republic, has been transported back to Ghana. So that's my first question.
Should I treat it as a comment or a question to the nominee?
I've been wondering, and I need an answer from my leader.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I remember enumerating the number of sins she's committed on as the vice chair of our appointment committee. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm not a member of the appointment committee. I cannot be too sure the sins they have committed. That one is between you and your God.
I think what I would, you mean you don't know the sins we've committed as a committee for fast-tracking your vetting today, a vetting that was supposed to be held tomorrow and is being held today? And then we were even expecting it to be held in the next 2 weeks. Anyway, I like your answer. Honorable Leader, on behalf of the cocoa farmers across the country, and on my own behalf, I'd like to congratulate you for your appointment as the Minister Designate for Finance. Honorable Leader, the current cocoa price, producer price of cocoa, is 49,600 per ton. That is 3,100 for 64 kg bag. Over the past 1 year.
Are you talking in terms of dollars or cedis?
Cedis,
I want to be clear.
Over the past 1 year, You've been advocating for higher producer price for our cocoa farmers. And you know they are very happy that, given the nod, you are going to be on the seat. Should you get the nod from this House, what reasonable and fair producer price must our cocoa farmers expect from the new administration? And when will this review take place? I would like to mention specifically the figure you mentioned, 6,000 per bag of cocoa. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, without a doubt, I'm a biggest advocate for cocoa farmers. I've done that in the last 8 years, and I've fought for the cocoa farmer, year in, year out. I will not change that. I will work to improve the lot of the cocoa farmer, recognizing their contribution to the economy, recognizing that the cocoa sector has been the mainstay of Ghana's economy for years. My concern, and I've always raised these concerns, has to do with the fact that the sector is collapsing and dwindling at a very fast rate, in fact, at an exponential rate. I think we need to do something, including the farm gate price and revamping the sector itself. I've said that the Ghana Cocoa Board is currently under the Ministry of Agriculture. It is not under the Ministry of Finance, unless there's a policy change. But let me speak to what is before us now. It is not under the Ministry of Finance. So I do not have the sole power, prerogative, to announce cocoa price today. But obviously, as a minister, I'll be the champion for cocoa farmers, and I'll make sure that they get a fair price. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question?
Yes, this will be a follow-up because I remember vividly on the floor of Parliament, the minister indicated that he is going to advocate for 6,000 a bag for cocoa farmers. And I'm surprised that you are now saying that it doesn't lie within your sole prerogative to do that. You were emphatic to do that. So should we demand that from you, that farmers are listening?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I don't think this is one of the sins that I enumerated, but I said I will advocate, and I've said that I will not change my position. I can certainly change.
Thank you very much. Another question, please.
Right. Thank you very much. Honorable Member, with the growing population of young people entering the workforce each year, what is your plan to address youth unemployment? And may I continue by asking if you could outline any specific programs to support entrepreneurship, skills training, or expansion of industries that have high job creation potential? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any program to support entrepreneurship
Chairman,
and innovation?
As a government, our job creation measures have been announced as part of our manifesto. As a minister, my responsibility is to mobilize the needed resources. In consultation with Cabinet, I will have to allocate them effectively to the sectors that will create employment and for them to be able to create jobs. When we talk about jobs, Mr. Chairman, and what you said, we've announced our 24-hour economy. And I strongly believe that Ghana has the huge potential of increasing our GDP with the same resources and the same human resource. That in itself will create enough jobs. Jobs that will be able to cater for our teeming youth. But in the meantime, what you said about skill training and all, His Excellency the President Mahama, and the manifesto of the NDC has not minced words on this. we are going to set up a structure to train skills, give them access to the required training, and give them the tools for them to be able to learn the trade. I'll fund it as a minister, if approved, or when approved, in such a way that the skills that we lack as a country, we can train them locally and give them employment. Today, most of us, anytime you want to get good artisans, you go to our neighboring countries and bring them in. But we have the youth here. Why don't we give them the training? I think we need to revisit that. And I'll work with the sector ministers and be able to allocate the needed resources to them. And as I've said, that is my role as a minister responsible for finance. So allocate the revenue, the resources to them for them to be able to. Then I will mobilize the resources and be able to allocate them effectively and efficiently.
Thank you very much.
Any further question?
Yes, I'm very much interested in your answer to my last question. But I'm looking at the development of women. And I'm highly interested in your manifesto promise to set up a women development bank. And then free tertiary education. And I know all these things are going to be of a prime benefit for our ladies or our women in the country, with a proposed reduction in taxes. Is fiscal consolidation a priority for the government in the near term, taking into account government's manifesto? Thank you.
Honourable nominee.
Thank you. Chairman, fiscal consolidation is not only a priority, but we will front load it. We will front load it carefully. At the same time, we'll signal to the investor community strongly that fiscal consolidation is not only a priority, but we'll front load it in a way, at the same time not ignoring the impact on growth and protecting the vulnerable. So that, I can assure you, it is a priority. We have an option to rationalize some of these expenditures. And so it's a matter of switching and rationalizing. So it doesn't mean the flagship we've announced as part of our manifesto does not mean we are going to increase expenditure. That is not what it means. It's a priority of government, and we'll do just that.
Thank you for your answer. Any more questions?
Yes, I will have my last contribution.
Question or contribution?
Question, a follow-up question to the statement made or the question put in by Dr. Boakum. Honorable, you agree that data for end of year usually is validated on the first quarter of the ensuing year. So all data presented during the budget reading in November are provisional. How then do you say that data presented in 2017 and 2018, knowing that they are provisional, you term it as inaccurate? Thank you.
Thank you very much. What did you say? Those data is provisional, though,
Mr.
but
Chairman,
inaccurate.
that is exactly my point. The Honorable Gideon Boakon made reference to a particular data point and said that I was inaccurate. I had said this in 2019, and I said it at the time that the government had published accurate data. I said it at the time that the IMF, at the time, and remember, Ghana was in an IMF program, had gone to their board to present to their board and their final numbers. Mr. Chairman, I did not lie. I said what I believe was the fact. In fact, subsequent data from the Ministry of Finance has confirmed that I was overly generous as this morning. And so, this is what I mean. Data, obviously, is maybe preliminary until finally determined at the end of the year. And that's why I've been careful not to announce any end-year numbers. But that is what it is. And you know, in Parliament, you have...
Thank you very much. The question well answered. Any more questions? We will now...
Just to wish the honorable member, my favorite friend, very well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honorable Dr. Honorable Boa, your turn.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much.
Chairman,
Chairman, thank you very much.
Chairman, with respect.
Chairman, let me say that
Chairman,
you have...
with the greatest respect.
Chairman,
No, don't.
I think
let me.
that
Chairman, I need to come in on this.
But the chairman has recognized me unless he changes his mind.
Honorable Minority Leader, I recognize Honorable Boa.
Chairman, I'm in for a point of
Thank you,
order. Chairman,
thank you, Chairman.
point of order.
Thank you, Chairman.
Chairman, let's deal with this before.
Thank you, Chairman.
Chairman, let's deal with this.
Honorable Afenyamakins,
Chairman, let's
you have
deal
to
with this.
respect the
Chairman,
chair.
let's deal with this before we proceed.
Respect the chair.
Chairman, let's deal with
Please
this. Please
respect the chair.
Leader, I have recognized
Chairman,
Amaboa.
and I have noted
Thereafter,
that.
I can give you the floor.
Chairman.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Chairman.
Honorable Minority Leader, I have recognized Honorable Amaboa, the Deputy Majority Leader. I will give you the floor thereafter.
Chairman, with the greatest respect.
Chairman, let me go ahead.
Chairman, with the greatest respect.
Honorable Kesel,
Chairman, with the greatest respect to you.
Congratulations.
Please, let's deal with this
Very,
thing
very proud
so
of you.
that after that.
We entered
You consistently raise your voice
2009.
on my colleagues. Mr. Chairman, you consistently raise your voice on my colleagues. The way you address them,
Afenyo, please,
the way you address my colleagues
respect the chair.
does
Please,
not
respect the chair.
go
Respect
in
the
accord.
chair.
Does not go in accord with what we all have agreed on, to extend to each other that utmost respect. This is my fourth time of humbly pleading with you and craving your indulgence. I understand that you may have a high-pitched voice. However, I will plead with you. The way you came across as shouting on him, it happened in Honorable Abina Osaya Sari. You did it to Honorable Samia Wuku, and it's happening. I'm only pleading with you that in all humility, please, perhaps you did not intend that. And I'm here. If you feel that any of my colleagues is doing something or there's something that is not acceptable, we can work together. But the way
very well.
You did it, I'm pleading with you.
Point
sir.
well made.
Please, Chair.
But, Honorable Leader, with all due respect, I indulge non-members of the committee to ask a question contrary to the practice and the procedure of this particular committee. Therefore, I do not expect any non-member, after exhausting that right, to be craving to ask more questions. I think we should conduct the business in a very orderly manner. So, Honorable Amaboa, your turn.
Chairman, let me say that the only reason why I yielded to Honorable Afenyamakins is not because he's macho than anybody here, but because I respect this parliament and I respect the chair.
Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, proceed to ask your question.
I respect the chair.
Proceed to ask
Chairman,
your question.
I'm going to ask my question. Let me put it on record that, Chairman, you've been very kind to the minority today. And I've been here for a long time. And, Chairman, this extension of courtesies never happened when we were in the minority. Under the former chairman of the appointment committee,
Honorable Ose Osu. It never happened. And we have to make it clear that you are the only chairman that can allow anybody to speak. Honorable Afenyomak is the ranking member, but you have to give him the right to speak. Anyway, congratulations, Honorable Kesil Atufosin. I entered Parliament with you in 2009. I know that we were about 42 on our side, and then the other side also had a number. We were all together about 92. Today, after 16 years, well, we are only 4 left. That speaks volumes about the attrition of Parliament. But I am very, very, very proud of you. So if I say I know you very well, I know you very well. You are a man of complete integrity, and you speak with data and facts. And I am very, very confident that that's exactly what you do. I'm very proud of your performance today, and I think you've calmed the nerves of the people of Ghana and given them the assurance that you are going to really lead, quite frankly, the finance ministry to success. So, my respected leader, I must also congratulate you on behalf of our colleague. You, as minority leader, will be remembered as the leader that in the last 2 years led the minority from 137 to 188 seats. Congratulations. So I'll go straight to my question. Ghana is inflation and high unemployment. And so my question is, as the Minister of Finance, what will be your top priorities to address these challenges?
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, let me also thank His Excellency the President for the honor done me, and my party, the NDC, again, for giving me such an opportunity to serve Ghana in such a high position, in a position of trust. I come to this position very well prepared. I have 16 years experience in public service after some years in the private sector. The Chairman, in politics, you are aware that I've served, one as a Deputy Minister of Finance, and on the side when my party went. And I urge my colleagues also to do the same. I will do whatever it takes to move this economy from the crisis that we are in today to where we have to be. My priority as a minister will be low prices, stable city, and jobs. Low prices in the sense that today inflation is 28.3, food inflation is 27.8, and we know the inflation we see today is anchored, is largely driven with food inflation. What do we do? As minister, I will allocate resources in consultation with Cabinet to government policy of agriculture for economic transformation to make food cheaper. And we'll work with the minister responsible for agric to make food cheaper. That in itself will help make food available and protect food security. From the price side, you can't talk about price without inflation. I mean, inflation needs to be tamed. It has been stubborn. I've said it earlier. It has, in the last 8 months, you can see that we are still seeing some uptick even though not too steep. But it has been 23.8. Today, that's the inflation rate. What do we do together to reduce this inflation? Yes, I've said it here and I want to say it again. We will work with the Bank of Ghana to reduce inflation to 8% plus or minus 2 in the shortest possible time. And how do we do this? From the fiscal side, we will front load fiscal consolidation in the shortest possible time so that we can get inflation down. And in doing so, we'll see prices stabilizing. The city needs to be anchored and has to be anchored from the Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Ghana. You can't leave the Bank of Ghana alone to anchor the city. The fiscal authorities has a role to play. I'll work with them. I will work and coordinate effectively with the central bank, the monetary authorities, so that together we can anchor the currency. Monetary financing must be eliminated, and we'll work to eliminate it. I'm on record to have spoken against monetary financing. My position has not changed. It's economist, and it still remains economist. And I will do exactly what it is to make sure we anchor the currency. On jobs, I've said it all. I've said it here that my responsibility as a minister responsible for finance is to raise the required revenue and to allocate it in consultation with cabinet to sectors that will create the jobs. And so we will do just that. And I want to repeat that. These are my priorities as a minister, and we'll work to achieve that in the shortest possible time. I want to be remembered as the one who helped to reduce prices and stabilize the currency and create jobs. That is what I ask God to help me to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you. Shama, can I go ahead?
Yes.
Okay. So you talked a lot about the cost of living crisis, food inflation. Obviously, you can only do this with other sectors, other ministries, to address these, what we call the inefficiencies in the agriculture value chain. Can you outline some of the strategies that you do, working with other structures to address these inefficiencies in the agriculture value chain?
Honorable nominee, your answer, please.
Mr. Chairman, my passion is agric and agribusiness. And that's why I'm sure you've seen questions coming from Coco, left, right, and center. Why is it that food inflation is 27.8? I think it speaks volume. It speaks volume. And what are the staples? Ghana staples. Why are we not taking hard decision to invest in the agriculture sector? I think the time has come for us to pay attention to agriculture sector. I will wait for the nomination of the minister responsible for agriculture and his subsequent approval. I hope to work with the minister concerned, and we will work together to implement the government policy to make food cheaper. We have to mechanize agriculture. We have to improve and enhance productivity, and we have to modernize the agri sector and make it encouraging for young people to enter the sector. And in the process, you cannot ignore agribusiness. As I've said, that's my passion, and I intend to work with the minister responsible for agriculture to ensure food security and cheaper foods.
Honorable Minister, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Any more questions?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you. I may allow questions from the ranking member, Honorable Deputy Minority Leader, Alexander Kwamina Afenyo-Martins. Honorable Deputy Minority Leader. Yes, Deputy Minority Leader. Honorable Deputy Ranking and Minority. Ranking Member and Minority Leader.
you will not hurt the vulnerable. And if I quote you further, you also said that I am from a rural constituency. Therefore, I would champion policies that would benefit the poor. Currently, we have some social intervention programs rolling. 1, free SHS, boarding, free, tuition, free, feeding. Would you sustain the free SHS program? The quality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, nominee, your answer to the question, whether you will sustain and improve upon the free senior high school program.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Mr. Chairman, myself and the minority leader has a history. We plan to enter this chamber together. Unfortunately, in his first attempt, he couldn't make it, and I made it.